I am Ann-Peggy Divine. Welcome to the Divine Design, the podcast where we unfold heaven on earth and reframe spirituality and theology for a new cosmic era. Your journey on human evolution and integration of your divine design starts here.
Welcome, Mariju. It's such a pleasure to have you here in this podcast.
Thank you. It's such a delight to be with you and your audience and to dive into this beautiful divine connection, divine conversation and exploration and expansion and however we dance with these wonderful energies and communications.
Yeah, and we have just connected for the first time, and you started to say something about the words for this year is alignment.
So at the beginning of the year, as I kind of mentioned to you, like for a long time, like many of us, through many following the heart, yoga, meditation, all these different things, I had a wellness retreat, a day spa, massage therapist, healing modality. So all of those has been bringing me into a greater alignment and sense of authentic connection. And then at the beginning of this year, been going through a big transition in 2024, which was letting go of the wellness retreat and the day spa, but also letting go of the identity of who I'd become within that. So just like there's such a collapse of what I call the old consciousness or the old energies within ourself, the external and the internal. And so so in 2024, my words, when I asked the deepest desire of my soul, it was my job in 2024 was JOB, joy of being. So as much as possible, being in the joy of being frequency, new earth frequency, joy of being, new earth frequency, also joy of being unafraid to be seen. So a lot of 2024 was releasing and bringing up other aspects of me that was still actually hiding in my retreat center or believing that I could only really bring the magic or the divine magic, that really deep stuff, the quantum magic within the retreat property and vibration. So it brought up a lot of inner child stuff of the fear of really being in the world more openly in my truth and authenticity. And then entering 2025, the word that came in strong was alignment. And it wasn't just alignment, it was consistent commitment to alignment. So that's what I was speaking to you beforehand. And that the consistent commitment to this inner alignment, specifically in 2025, it's like a counterbalance to what's going on externally as the deconstruction happens of what was built within the old consciousness or ego structure, or more dense dual consciousness, that served its purpose of separation. And now we're really moving into this a more expansive consciousness of the heart, of unity, of where we can have this, divinity becomes a blessed word that we can embody rather than feel awkward or hold it separate from ourselves, which is what we were doing in the old consciousness, right? It lived in the church or with the priests or with God, but we weren't part of that. We were I was brought up Catholic in Ireland, so I learned that we were born sinful and we're atoning for our sins and we had to confess for our sins. So it's been a big journey to release that corridors or those beliefs in separation. And I actually had an experience over the lot of years where I had a discomfort in my shoulder, and when I went in, tuned into the energy, and I asked as I dropped in what was required to release the pain, the discomfort in my shoulder, and the awareness I got that just came was need to drop the belief in separation. So a lot of this transition is collapsing or bringing to resolution what was keeping that perception through those perceptions and old creations through the belief in separation. So that's really what I see is actually collapsing and deconstructing externally. So the alignment internally is to be the calm within the storm of all of the fluctuating energies on earth. And to go deeper with the alignment, to build also the resilience of trust and connection and alignment, with that inner beingness to really transverse whatever is ours to transverse, and to not, you know, insofar as we can, as we're navigating, to really to be in allegiance, so to speak, to that inner alignment, rather than the fearful external consciousness, or our own old fears, because of, you know, whether what's happened in our generational lines, childhood, or other lifetimes as well.
Yeah.
So that's the healing work, or the reintegration, really, into back home to wholeness, because there's wisdom in all of it. I say that nothing's wasted in consciousness ultimately, even though it can be very challenging as we're moving through those aspects, and acknowledging and witnessing and being witnessed, and bringing the shadow, or that which has been unconscious, into the light.
Yeah. And I just have to see, because I see your background, you are kind of in the opposite of the earth than me. I'm in the Arctic, in the northern Norway, and you are in Australia.
Yeah, I'm in New South Wales, around the Byron Shire area, and it's absolutely beautiful. And the ocean, I don't know if you can see it, but the ocean is out there. I think you can actually, just there, the horizon.
Yeah.
So yeah, very, very blessed. And as I mentioned to you, I've been living in New Zealand for 16 and a half years. Very blessed. That's where myself and my husband, we, again, very synchronistically, we got to birth the vision, our dream vision, to run a wellness retreat together for 9 years, and a day spa. Started with the day spa and massage in a little village in New Zealand. And yeah, moved through a lot of transition, as I said, in 2024 and 2025. And in September in 2024, I came back from the Bahamas after a dolphin swimming retreat with a beautiful friend of mine who was running a retreat in the Bahamas. And I felt like I just felt like energetically it was stagnant. There was no movement in New Zealand. And all the excitement was Australia. So I told my partner, who thankfully is very in tune as well with his heart and intuition and trust within our journey and relationship, and he could see the excitement in me.
Yeah.
And so he didn't try to stop me in any way. So yeah, so I've been over here and in between Australia and New Zealand, which feels really, really good. I feel so blessed, you know, to get to call both of these countries my home currently. And of course, global home, really.
Yeah, so yeah, divine design, you live out your divine design there, and I'm kind of, so it's our habitat. So the habitat we live in, the energy here is amazing, but it is a little bit, as I said, here is minus 10 degrees and you have 20, 30 degrees. So it's like kind of, but it doesn't matter as long as this is supporting to us and we feel the energy. I'm born here. I have lived here for 50 years and I will be here till I go to my grave. I just know in my heart.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll use the analogy, but what's actually happening is, I don't know how it is there, but even here where I am, and I think globally, Wim Hof, the cold water therapy, and then the sauna. So part of what I see in many of us who are ascending and broadening our awareness of our consciousness and who we truly are as souls, the truth of it is, as a soul, we've incarnated to many places on the globe. So we've been in the cold and we've been in the hot. And one of the modalities I do is quantum healing hypnosis. I was trained by Dolores Cannon. Have you heard of Dolores Cannon? And yeah, and my partner Steve, he drops in very quickly, and often, because he's into endurance cycling and going through many different climates, often his soul in the session, he's often brought into contrasting lifetimes, like an Arctic cold, like really ice cold, to being in the desert, to a lifetime of when he was in the desert. And it's, and so that's that experience on that quantum level and different lifetimes. But really, if we bring it back to just the regular human day-to-day external life, we can see that represented in more and more people getting into the cold ice bath therapy and the hot sauna, and that we're acclimating our physicality, our body, to remember that you can adapt and you are safe in this more extreme. So it's interesting. I mean, it's beautiful, isn't it? You know, how to embody more of this more expansive consciousness, which is more inclusive rather than exclusive, which of course is what we're moving out of.
Yeah. And as you say, I'm ice bathing. I go between the ice flake and swim, and I take sauna. And since we don't know so much about each other, I also as a regression therapist. So I have lead a lot of people to past life, and I have been in, I don't know how many lives I have been in myself, and I have also been in a future life. So that's why I have lined up with other women that hold the medicine woman of the future, of the new consciousness. Because when you travel, you can travel. We have spoken a lot about travel in the past, but we can travel as much as we want in the future. And future health is helping us, but we are already there because you know, have you heard about the egg? You know that both the light and vibration is healing. So a lot of modality is giving us quantum healing, divine healing, but it is high energy, and there's coming more and more and more of this future healing, and also understanding our body in a deeper layer, like the nervous system and the myelin. And so this is big, and it's amazing because now I see that we merge past, future, and the now, but everything happens in the now.
Yes.
So you are telling it. So we are doing the same.
Yes,
You are doing it
yes.
in Australia, and I'm doing it here in the Northern Arctic.
Yeah, exactly. And the joy of being is really, you know, it is surrendering into that greater knowingness of who we are, which goes beyond, of course, the intellect and the left brain and the linearity, and then holding all of that, which is the quantum field that you're talking about, which is the perceived past, or the linear pathway of past and future. And yet from the quantum field, it's all one, which is why we can drop in or guide other people to drop through the different brainwave states, and the consciousness can go to a future timeline, a past timeline, and revisit it. And then that's where the healing happens. I guess more so in the past, but potentially in the future. But you know, I see it as where the energy got stuck. You know, that's what the trauma is, really, isn't it? You know, or it got caught in a limiting belief or a shock or whatever it was, and then it's just really, it's an yourself going back in a way to unlock where the energy got stuck, because it's shown up in the body in the now, for example, or how things are being expressed in the future. So yeah, it's not something for the left brain to try to get its jaws around. That's for sure.
No. And what I have been into now, since I have embodied, I help people to embody their light body, because the future body is our light body. And it is a process also, because it feels like we are sick. And what you started to mention about going in the sauna and ice bath. It actually, when I embody my light body, I was freezing, I was sweating, freezing, sweating for over 2 weeks. And then I had kind of a period of normal, and then another period. So it's kind of me embodying the light body. It is like hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. So has been the process for me. Maybe the process will be different for other, but I see that someone feels sick, but I have kind of adjust my matrix. I don't want to be sick. It's okay for me to sleep and to be cold and hot, cold and hot. So that's my body adjusting to the high frequency, because we are adjusting more and more our body to the high frequency, kind of the divine light. We are embodying more and more light. And that's the real key to health, future health.
Yeah, and as you're speaking, you know, no wonder, you know, you're doing this podcast, and I have a podcast called Divine Love Ambassador, which I haven't done so much in the last few months, but I'm going to pick it up again. And that was very guided in 2022. And I started last year. And yeah, what was coming in as you were speaking was just, again, just how important these conversations are and what you're sharing about the future understanding and bringing it back to the now, so that we can unattach from our light body, our ascension journey, or embodiment, through a lens of limitation or resistance. And we can really acclimate with more grace and more ease, which is definitely something I feel in my soul. And since 2020, it's like, I felt like energetically, like I just use the analogy of like ironing out the kinks of transition, so that transition can become more graceful within my soul matrix.
Yeah.
And so revisiting some of the abrupt transition. So that was like, because when I was 3 years of age, I went to 2 children's homes between 3 and 6. So that was kind of a big deal. And then in puberty, I had another big deal. So so it's like revisiting. So wherever there was, creases are, bumps on the road, so to speak, energetically had to be revisited to iron it out. But I can feel the difference where I'm opening up to a more graceful energy of flow, of magnetism that we spoke a bit before we jumped on, where somehow we've just come, we've connected, and I'm finding it around me, like literally where I'm living. 2 ladies have moved into where I'm living, and as an Airbnb, and we've just had such a connection and resonance. And and I think the sense that we don't need to have this history, and we can have this deep resonance, this deep recognition, and this deep trust that's already inherent in us, as our nervous system is recognizing that resonance as well, and safety within this deeper, I guess, expression of who we truly are, that we can hold that for each other, even if we're not conscious of it. It's like there's a deeper there's a deeper consciousness knowing, of course.
It's music in my ears, and like you said, the resonance, because I go with the resonance. I'm not so much on the YouTube or on the social media, but people text me, "Oh, you have the same vibration as this woman or as this man," and then okay, then I contact them. So I have kind of people that guide me further to, and then it's like, so the vibration. It is, I see that we are now in a vibration and a resonance. So we meet people in resonance. So I met you in resonance. I never talked to you before, but we resonate, and we are doing kind of the same, just on the opposite path, opposite the place of Earth. So it feels like that is what we are going against, or we are already there because we are doing it now. So it's not future. So when I say it's future health, the future health is already here. And that's kind of embracing the divine design of us, the divinity of us, the light of us, grace, all this pristine and all this amazing word. It has been kind of a concept and a word, but now I see that we are embodying more and more. So it's an experience more than just a mental concept.
Absolutely. And that is, from my experience anyways, it's a deep acceptance of who we truly are. So instead of being in the denial of our divinity, which is part of the separation age experiment, knowing what we're not, or what's it like to be, to disconnect, or to have the perception, the illusion of being separate, the belief system of being separate, and everything that gets created got created from there. And as we release those limiting beliefs and unresolved emotions or energies, and they, instead of turning away, they turn towards ourself, our inner being, and that inner alignment I'm talking about. So this year has been like a heightened invitation from my soul to turn, to a calling to turn towards myself, and to get so congruent with that inner divinity ultimately, to build up even a greater leaning in towards, and a confident, like a divine confidence. and it's like to believe in that identity, even though it's not really identity, but you know what I mean, to believe in that more than the body consciousness, even though of course we're embodying more of that, but especially just with, I guess, the body consciousness from the perspective of plugging into the survival fear consciousness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it is interesting that you talk about identity, because one of the courses that I lead people through, it is kind of an identity shift. We kind of go through the trauma to release it, and then embodying more and more the divinity and the essence of us. Who are we in essence? Not because we have a name, because we live there, we are a mother, we are a daughter, and all these labels. We have had so much labels. So now we are going into the new identity, and it's a frequency, and we see each other as brothers and sisters. I see people I meet, I see you as my sister. So
Hey,
it's
sis.
more yeah. So it's more the resonance is like, yeah, we are brothers and sisters on Mother Earth, even though you are in the hot area and the cold area. Well, we are both in Mother Earth.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And as we're evolving, awakening, moving into greater self-realization, and greater self-acceptance, and knowing thyself as divinity once more,
Yeah.
and pure, and dropping away the baggage of what went against that, or what was feeling separated from that purity and divinity, or that goodness, unworthiness, undeserving, all of this kind of unforgiven, so we forgive, we love, we speak, we become, we bring it all into the light, basically, as I said earlier.
Yeah.
Then as we're dropping inward, and I know you know this already, but as we're dropping inward, and as we go deeper within, we're expanding outwards, and from that expanse of consciousness and unity within ourselves, as we collapse the duality into more of the 0 point field, which I call love, and call, it is the divinity, it's the field of consciousness.
Yeah.
And from there, the seeing through the eyes of source, the magnificence of the human. So it's a very different perspective of our human. Like it's seen with reverence and so much gratitude and love and appreciation, that we get to have these bodies that have these external sensory communication devices to interpret experience and vibration, and these inner senses to interpret the subtler energies, and to have more of that dance going on as we become more aware and in tune and in alignment. We've tuned up the instrument, or all the instruments in the orchestra, so we're back in the celestial choir. And from there, we're just in awe of the other instruments, whether we are the other orchestras that are going on this planet. It's just, it's the joy, it's the spark of creativity and inspiration. Whereas in the old consciousness, it got caught up in comparison and competition. But as we're in this new consciousness, it's all about, oh, that's interesting, and curiosity, and what you got, and it's more about what we're bringing, rather than what was given to us.
It's more, I call it's more about the Ubuntu philosophy, because in the Ubuntu, with the Ubuntu philosophy? Ubuntu.
Oh no.
It's an African philosophy. It's like they know they are brothers and sisters, and your happiness is my happiness. So it's kind of, it's the soul. They understand each other from a soul level, that we are brothers and sisters. So I said, we are going back to the Ubuntu, and playing like,
as you give unto others, Jesus' message, Yeshua, as you give unto others, or do unto others as you would want done unto you. But sometimes says, like sometimes the Christianity is like, you know, the message is love others as you love yourself. But I say nobody taught us to love ourselves. That's the challenge. So we're loving each other. We've been loving each other as we don't love ourselves.
Yeah.
Changing, you know, and one of my, you know, one of the passions of why the wellness retreat and the day spa is about self-care, because I really see that self-care. I have a little thing that I came to many years ago. Self-care leads to self-love. Self-love leads to divine love. And to me, that's the pathway to come back. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. But I experienced that we are now in a we field. So because we have said a lot about, oh, it's me, but at the same time it's we, because but of course we have to take care of ourselves. I couldn't do what I do today if I didn't take care of myself. But I see myself as a we, not as a I. Because if my husband, my children, and all the people I kind of commune with and have a relationship with, I'm a part of them. We are a part of it's a big family.
So this is where it might get a little bit like about semantics. So there's the little I, which the ego is me, or I, you know, I this or that. But for deep down, at least this has been my experience through my awakening self-realization journey, is, you know, really resonating with I am. But it's the big I am. And it's the big I am, and it's the I am that is inclusive. It's the I am that I am, which is whatever I'm looking at, I am. Whatever I'm focused on, whatever I'm experiencing, I am. There is no separation between this and this external. This is a reflection of my consciousness and my energy and my state of being and my willingness to receive on that level myself. So yeah, so it's same.
I agree with you, but someone, since it is I am, because the I am can be whatever, and I can be you. It's kind of the I am. We can use the I am to connect with everything, but just to lift it higher, to understand that the I am actually a we am. We are.
Yeah. However, like in terms of alignment and commanding our energy, the I am, at least this is my experience, the I am is really accepting the God within.
Yeah.
And the I am directing, commanding our energies. So really, to me, this is tapping into that soul mastery of a fuller self-realization. And in that knowingness is full responsibility for our energy. And that you are a reflection of me. So you are my mirror, my internal. So as I'm walking through life more and more these days, and last year I told you was a transitional year, and so myself and my partner in New Zealand, we did a lot of house sitting. I've done a bit in Australia as well, which is a beautiful experience. And sometimes you know, new dogs that hadn't been around, and there might be a little bit of fear. So I catch myself and to switch that around, and not just in that case, but other cases, if there's any bit of fear or I find I'm perceiving through the lens of separation, what I'll do is I'll take the visualization or the energy of that dog, and I'll place it in my heart, and I'll remind myself, this is me. I am that also. I am that also. And all of a sudden, no fear. There's no fear. And the connection that I have with the animal or the situation or the person or whatever it is completely shifts, because I'm not viewing through the perception of separation. I'm the unity consciousness that has this, that is full part of yes.
Yeah. And that's why I also, me and a partner of me, we use the we field, but it is the I am. So we just started to use kind of the we to, because it's not everyone. We are both in the field of deep transformation, and when you are in transformation, it's hard to be in the unity of kind of being the I am. So that's why we call it also the we. We are the I am, kind of the we. So it is the same. So they're just different labels.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, it's it's even beyond words, like even
It's
I
beyond
am.
words. It is beyond words.
Beyond any terminology, because
Yeah.
the minute we put words, we've kind of lost it, but it's the best that we can do. And also just what I'm hearing from you and what was coming to me as you were speaking is, when we're on our journey, we're creating, workshops or whatever we're creating as frameworks to take it step by step. So so what resonates, and then we can drop it, and then we expand into what resonates now. So what's helpful. So again, this is a great way, for anyone who listens to this as well, is, rather than get attached to a certain word or a certain person or a certain teaching or a certain whatever, because I mean, that's what dogma is, what happened, is to go, is this helpful? Is it helpful for me? And is it helpful as in when you tune into your body, does it make me feel relaxed? Does it make me feel encouraged? Does it make me feel, am I having good night's sleeps? How is my health? Or is it sending me into stress and fear and discouragement? Or is it helping me to feel affirmed and encouraged and supported? And to me, that's more important than getting too caught up in semantics.
I'm so agree. And then we are back to the resonance and the vibration, because it's all frequency. So does it resonate?
And the empowerment to keep checking in with yourself.
Yeah.
And there's no right or wrong, good or bad, just keep checking in. And if we all could take that level of responsibility, and then what we're doing is strengthening that muscle.
Yeah.
To keep checking, to navigate, because that's the most important muscle for these times, to navigate.
I'm so agree. And what can be in resonance with you can be very helpful for you, can be almost deadly for me, because we don't have the same frequency, all of us. And I have worked in kindergarten coaching people there, and one of the child would die if they had an egg inside this house. And one time they forgotten and he almost died. So if I eat an egg, this is healthy for me. I kind of, it support my health. But for this child, he almost died because they just had an egg in this kindergarten. So that's kind of, you can see that the vibration, we just have to tune in what's correct for me, what's correct for you. So all of us, we have to be master in our own life.
Absolutely. That's it. I mean, the quote, Hippocrates, one man's medicine is another man's poison, or one man's poison is medicine. So absolutely. And that is, but it is a muscle, and it is a focus, just like what I talked about, like alignment. For me in this year, and what I'm writing about every week and putting videos out every week, is the theme of alignment. So it's focus. It's a focus. It's more of that inward focus. And part of that is and part of what I'm within myself and what I'm sharing is becoming aware what takes us out of alignment, what brings us deeper into alignment. So if we talk about food, what upsets our belly, what makes us feel heavy or bloated, what makes us feel lighter and more energized. So it's noticing what we notice, which of course is bringing a more conscious awareness into all of this.
So it is a big shift happening, and we are kind of talking about the new, what we are, because in Norway, yes, a lot of people are wanting to be there, but the old system, when we listen to media and we listen to the news, it's kind of showing the war at Gaza and war in Ukraine and all this.
So that would be what takes us out of alignment.
So it's kind of, okay.
You listen to a meditation, you listen to an uplifting conversation, you listen to beautiful music, and that's what takes us into alignment. You do some yoga, you go for a walk in nature. So again, you take some deep breaths. So you eat some good, nutritious, delicious food, then organic, wholesome, I would say is that's my preference. Then you notice, okay. And so then it's our responsibility then to what are we choosing? And when are we done with the stuff that takes us out of alignment? When are we done with this fear and drama and just that which discourages us as humanity and is really coercing and seducing into a story that depletes the energy, that is stressful, and then of course the ego mind will go, but it's happening, and it's the reality. But of course, again, more and more people, at least I've heard this over the years in New Zealand, it's like I would hear people, just regular people who just come for a massage. They didn't even come for a retreat or anything. They just come for a massage. And I really love to listen to people, and more and more people, and even nowadays more and more people is switching off, because they're realizing they're disenchanted. They're done with feeling angry. They're done with feeling despondent. They're done with feeling hopeless. And there's something in them going, I don't want to live this way. There's got to be another way. And of course, that's what the awakening is. It starts with, there's got to be another way. Really, as a child, that's what I had, because in my environment, there was chaos, and there was a lot of turbulence and dysfunction and illness and drama and all of this kind of stuff. And so as a youngster, inside of me, I was like, there's got to be another way. Surely there's more to life than the suffering. So so early on, I knew I needed to heal myself. I knew I needed to do things different than my caregivers, my parents, and the experience that I had. So something in me, so that's the flip side of the challenges that we're facing, or that we're perceiving in the external world. Again, it's all a call for awakening and to come inward, and to be ready in a way to put it down, and say, I deserve more peace. I deserve more maybe kindness on my nervous system. I deserve quality food on my table, and to that a good conversation. I'm only allowing in good conversation. I can start by that. I'm not entertaining conversation that's not uplifting. And I'm sure yourself, as we do come into a deeper connection with ourselves, and we do realize who we truly are, we become more intolerant to that which is not supportive of the creation of what we want to experience in life. And the focus, because we realize the power of our thinking and our focus and our attention and our intentions.
Because then we know we are gods, that we are creating our world. So or everything we see in the world, that's our consciousness has created that. So we are consciousness creators, source creators. So we have kind of upgraded and put out something else. We don't want to. We don't resonate with the war and all this fear mentality. So we have upgraded.
As souls, as many of us as souls, we've experienced it plenty of times. We're so that's why so many of us are gone. We're done. As a soul, I've squeezed all the juice out of that experience. So it's an old conscious, because we've experienced it, and now the soul, if I'm using a word soul, but the deeper self is ready for new experience. And that's what we're calling expanding consciousness. It's really the potentials of new experience, because that's what we're here to do as the human who has the body to experience.
And as you say, because being a regression therapist, I have been in a lot of my past life, and I have been a lot of man. And I've been in so many wars, fighting, and going into the collective field of being a man. And we are fighting, but we don't know what we are fighting for. So we just do it kind of, we are programmed to fight. And if we don't fight, we were killed by the leader of our country. So it's kind of crazy. So what you are saying, we have done this for so many 1,000 years. Now it's a shift. We want to experience and expand beyond this fear.
Exactly. And that's what I meant by as well, about and I find that that's what I really came to in my own quantum healing hypnosis sessions and working with clients. I came to the realization that the higher self, and each session being very, very unique, some of them past lives, but some of them very, very different, our future lives as well. But what I realized really is that it was getting the energy unstuck. So whether that's required from an awareness, from seeing it from different perspectives, from forgiveness, whatever it is, but ultimately from an energetic level, so that we're not repeating patterns, we're not stuck in the loop, which of course is karma, is stuck in the loop. And that's what we're breaking out of. And that's why it takes courageous, and that's what they say, the most courageous souls are on the planet. And because it takes that courage and determination and that light, that remembrance of our light on some level. So in my childhood, there's some remembrance or connection to some desire in my soul that there's got to be another way. There's got to be another way to navigate and find a new pathway out of the suffering.
Yeah.
So this is what we're up to.
And our life are so connected, because what I'm doing now in Norway, I did the same when I had my past life in Austria and in Wales. And I died of heart sorrow in Wales and in Austria, and I was born with a heart disease, so my heart has a hole. So it has followed me. And in the beginning, when I kind of explore it, I thought it's because I have so much love. Because if you go to your essence, you know all your essence and the love, and you just want to emanate love. But what my heart carried was actually sorrow. And it was sorrow for a lot of years with trauma, fear. So I carried deep sorrow from Wales. I carried it like an energy imprint from several lives. And this life, I have really released it. I'm helping others to release it also. Because yes, we want to emanate love, but we have carried so much grief, because all this fear, when you go in the essence behind the fear, it is sorrow. We are so sad. It's this is crazy. It has been crazy. So now really we can step up.
And acknowledging that it does take to unpack that sorrow. So that it can, and that's why, our daily practices, the conscious vessel to allow those energies, those emotions of deep sorrow to be released, and even like literally the latter weeks, it's a continuous journey, but and sometimes it feels even deeper, of like abandonment, powerlessness, desperation, and in myself, like being able to and even the alignment is to be able to embody even deeper, to be able to really be the space holder within my own embodiment consciousness, to allow more of this energy and not get into the story or the identity, and trust, because in the midst of it, it can be so challenging to really surrender and trust in the midst of deep pain and I've had some deep pain in my physical body expressed this last year and a bit, which I know is partly why I had to sell my retreat, because there was deeper work that was, or deeper energies that was, that needed to be excavated or risen up, and to be available to that, because that's the greater work, as for many of us, that's what we're here for. We're here for this. As you know.
It's I was supposed to I've forgotten what I was supposed to say. I lost it.
It'll come back.
But it is so amazing to be here. But now I remember, it was kind of what you're telling. We didn't have any plan when we hadn't met each other. We didn't have any question. We just go with the flow. So this is kind of the new, because earlier when we did a broadcast or we did something, everything was planned. We had a script, a manuscript, and everything was kind of neat to the detail. But we just go with the flow. And like me now, okay, I've forgotten my words, but that's okay. That's the human thing. And we lose the thought we have, and that's okay. So we are kind of we are human, and we are doing as best as we can. And if we lose the word, and if we kind of, okay, I lost it, it's okay. Everything is okay. So it's kind of, we can hold this sacred space for ourselves and for others. So we have this sacred space, and it's okay, it's okay to put out the word not correct, because when you listen to my English, it is not perfect. But I was guiding start in English, even though I think it's hard because I don't have the English language. It's not perfect at all, and I don't find the correct words. But I do it anyhow because I see that the mission and what we are doing is so much bigger than my wording not correct. So it's like I do it even though I feel, okay, I don't find the words. It's like, okay, I want to say something. What's the word for that? I don't know, but I do it anyhow.
Yeah, exactly. And so what you're pointing to is that we're going beyond operating from the egoic mental mind, which is all about judgment, and it's judging everything we're doing.
Yeah.
You know, or projecting our judgment externally, and projecting ourselves or judging ourselves through other people's eyes or judging other people.
Yeah.
But it's all us, so we're always judging ourselves ultimately. So yeah, so the more we heal or integrate and we go deeper with our consciousness, then we can hold, I call it the messy human, you know, and the divine soul, messy human. And it's not to make this human any less divine, but it's more like a parent that is looking after a child.
Yes.
And the child falls in the puddle or the muck, and it gets, you know, it gets caught up, maybe it gets a bit cranky or has a trauma, or not a trauma, sorry, cancel that. No more of that. It has a tantrum.
Yeah.
You know? And maybe it does have a trauma. That's okay. And yet the parent, us, is holding our hand going, oh, you know, we're like, it's okay. But deep down we're like, oh, she's so cute. Isn't he so cute? They're so beautiful. Because deep down, that reverence for the human journey, who's going through the experience, who's maybe fallen down and maybe hit the knee or something and felt that, you know. And so it's like real endearment, just like a parent, you know. But they're learning, they're growing, they're evolving.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when what you are talking about now, you also mentioned is that when we are in the 0 point field, and this field will not with no condemning, it has named for me the grace field. The grace field has no condemning. It's the 0 field, and it support us whatever we want. So it's like the goddess or the divinity that really support us like a parent. So it's like, it's okay, you're doing the best, we know your intention. So it's back to the vibration and the intention. And even though we don't say it correct, or we bump down or something, but we kind of, the frequency we have, it is a good intention, and that's what's kind of count, because we are doing the best we can and we are not hurting anyone. So it's like, yeah, we are supported even though it's not perfect.
Yeah, and even if we were hurting somebody, you know, maybe not consciously or unconsciously, or you know, maybe consciously, but even there can be space for you know, like, again, that's why it's like forgiving the like, that's what I share is like part of this getting on the energy unstuck, is forgiving the unforgivable. So the belief is it's unforgivable, whatever it is. And so to come forward and to be the forgiver, to be the one to ask for forgiveness, and to be the one to receive forgiveness, to allow that energy to put it down, to speak the unspoken or the unspeakable. And that could be around abuse that was handed down in a family that nobody spoke of. Or, you know, whatever the experience was. And to love the unlovable, believed unlovable. And so then it comes home into the 0 field, 0 point field, or the grace field. I love you calling it the grace field. And And I'll just share with you in one of my own quantum healing hypnosis, when the lady took me, like she kept asking, who are you really? Who are you? You know, awareness, but the words that came to me was infinite grace, on that biggest, most expansive consciousness level, infinite grace. So yeah.
Wow, then we line up, because that's my word too. When I get into my essence, it's like I'm grace. I have never heard about, because we don't use this word in Norway. So for me, that started the road what I was in essence.
Beautiful.
Because we have another word that we have translated from grace, but that has not the same resonance. It's big difference between because in Norway we say nåde, and nåde and grace. We use nåde in Norway as grace, but it's so big difference between the vibration. So I'm not nåde, but I am grace. And I know for some people it's maybe okay, but that's again back to the vibration.
Yeah. So I'll share another little story I think that you might find interesting around this theme of grace. So I think it was 2010, 2011. I had a group of people at my house, and I connected with a group of people. It was a visionary network group who were very energetic, and some of them were at my home, and we were tuning into the frequency. So we're tuning in, just asking whatever the frequency. It was around abundance terms. So it was like wealth, prosperity, money, finance, what else was there? Anyways, there's a few different terms, and each one we would just tune in and we would tone and just see what came as we tuned into the frequency.
Yeah.
So it was really interesting. So anyways, the last one, I don't know if you have this term in Norway, if you recognize it, but in the West, the jackpot, getting the jackpot.
Yeah.
So the jackpot. So for me, so we just took that as another term, jackpot. And so the jackpot really is like the big win, right? And so in my human perceptional lens, when we said the jackpot and we started to tune in, I was seeing cha-ching, cha-ching, money down the, down the whatever the casinos, or that kind of thing, the big win.
Yeah.
And so what really was like so surprising for me at the time was that when I went in and I started to tone the frequency, I was like, whoa, who would have thought the jackpot is grace? That's what I got, that the jackpot was the frequency of grace, and that was truly the most abundant frequency, to be in grace.
Yeah, and that for me also, for me it's the jackpot, because I try with the biggest wealth, the biggest gift. It's like if you go inward and find, when we live from the grace field, it's kind of, because when it showed to me that grace, I haven't heard about the wording, but it is not a wording, it is a frequency. But so I wasn't at that frequency then, but that was kind of my path, because the doctor had said you will die, and yes, my ego died. My old Ann-Peggy did die. So, and my new is grace.
Beautiful.
So that's why the concept of divine design came, because divine design, it is an aspect of grace.
Absolutely.
And you.
Yeah. I mean, the other word that comes so is, this ease. There's an ease and a grace and a flow.
Yeah.
And again, if we bring it back to the body and the nervous system, that's what we're calibrating in our nervous system to receive the grace.
Yeah.
To be more receptive to the grace.
Yeah.
Because of course that's not what we've been born into.
No.
So we're calibrating our nervous system and our biology and our DNA upgrades and everything to be more receptive vessels to the grace, which is the flow, which is the innate worthiness to receive abundantly and gracefully and magnetically and synchronistically through the resonance.
Yeah. It's such an ease, and what we are talking about now, when we tell this to people, it's like it's almost too good to be truth, but it is. But because I'm living it now, and I see you kind of came to me, people are coming to me. I don't have to, oh, I want to connect with that. It's kind of the fighting way. Everything is a fight, a war. But now everything goes in flow, in vibration. So it's kind of, we started with this, and it's kind of wrapping it up. It's the vibration, it goes with ease. Everything is just amazing, beautiful.
Mm-hmm. And just highlighting as well that, you know, the bumps on the road are the limiting beliefs, you know, so those subconscious limiting beliefs. So that's another thing I've been doing in the quantum healing hypnosis, I'm sure you have as well, you know, is sometimes just spending time as part of the session to really allow the higher consciousness to really shine the light on what limiting beliefs are still running in the subconscious, and what are the antidotal new beliefs now that upgraded.
I work a lot of that, because it is, when we listen to our clients and the people we work with, we can hear the mental shattering and all what is going on. So it's like we are talking ourselves down, or the condemning, and the sickness, its habitat is sickness, and it habitats the sickness start from our mind, because the programming has been. So I call it habitat disease, because we have created this from several generations, and we feed them with kind of, or we give them, we are mothers and fathers, the divine mothers and fathers, holding their hands and giving them kind of what they need, and see, oh, what are you telling to yourself? What this wording, you have to be more kind to yourself. Everything is okay, even in the midst of a storm, because a lot of the people I work with have a lot of pain, and it is painful being in it, but to at the same time be loving and giving and nurturing and holding kind of ourselves in this.
Absolutely. That's all the antidotal, you know, is gentleness, kindness, patience, trust, surrender, letting in the support.
Yeah.
That's a huge one. And especially pain, lower back pain, is a lot around support, not feeling supported. So to trust, and then that comes back to the self-worth and deserving, to know that I haven't been abandoned by God or the universe or divinity, and that I am inherently worthy and deserving to be part of that oneness, of that unity, of that goodness, of that infinite supply, infinite grace.
Yeah. And I when you are speaking, I want to add one more thing, because what are we asking for? I had one yesterday, and she has asked to live in this Christ consciousness field, or the we field, the grace field. And when we ask of it, we have to put behind the pain body. So when we are in the midst of it, it can be very painful, because it feels like we are dying. So we have to kind of, okay, it feels like we are dying, but we have asked to really step up. And that's why we just have to take off this old clothing with fear and programming. And taking off the old clothing, it is pain. It feels like pain.
Well, and the pain is the separation. So the pain is recreated through the perception and the identity and the attachment to separation.
Yes.
So once we put down the identity that was created through separation, beliefs in separation, which created which was created through the traumas or whatever it was, then that pain releases. So and building up that unattachment from the pain body, so that we realize that we're not the body. And again, this is why deepening into our deeper consciousness through all the meditate. That's why meditation is always the guidance. Be in nature, meditate, the breath. These are all ways inwards and expand more outwards, so that we can hold, so that we can recognize and realize that we are the consciousness field, and the consciousness field, the body is like a projection, a hologram. And and so I love reminding people of quantum physics, because quantum physics, it says it's particles and waves, and it's only when our consciousness is upon it that it forms into a formation. Otherwise it's waves. The experiment of the split. So You know, and Einstein, he said everything is energy. It
Yes.
can't be destroyed, it can be transformed.
Yes.
So that's what we're unplugging from is the solid, knock on wood, seemingly, it's not really. So we're told everything is energy, everything is subatomic particles. And we go, oh yeah. Even science has told us from school, we've been taught this, but then because our eyes are perceiving this more physicality, physical life into our outer perceptions, then and we've got attached to that as our identity. So that's what's loosening. That's why we're going inwards. So we're letting go of our attachment to that identity and the egoic construct that is so afraid that it means death, because as you said, it's death of the ego, it's death of the identity, and it doesn't have to be death of the body. And that's probably one of the most unfortunate or challenging things about the awakening journey, is that I feel I understand now, or feel that many people, and I can understand, because it's so intense in moments, that the death is so intense in moments that it's like, I can't do this anymore. Like I've had those moments. I can't, you know, and of course the flip side is surrender. However, in those moments, I can see how, you know, yeah, basically, in short, that people kill off the body, you know, suicide, you know, rather than recognize it's just the ego, the identity, the attachments externally to the body, mind, that's what's dying off, so that we can recognize who we are as deeper consciousness of who we, you know, the deeper consciousness, that our soul that chose to be incarnated or projected into these vessels to have this earthly experience. Because from that perspective, it's glorious.
Yeah, it's glorious. And then we connect to Mother Earth, because my body know what it wants. A month ago, it said, I need an orange. And it's like, okay. So it's got, if you listen to it, and if you are in balance, the body know it wants fresh food, it wants a fresh drink. So it is kind of an intelligence there behind all this programming that just know. So if you just listen to Mother Earth and listen to our divine, it's kind of connecting both the pole, the divinity of us, and the Mother Earth part of us. Then we are in balance, and then we listen, as you say, we align.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, so that's why those lower chakras, lower chakras representing more the physical expression of who we are on the earth.
Yeah.
And if we're blocked on those lower chakras, or like a good example is in New Zealand, 2 hours away from where I was living and where I had my retreat. And really why I feel like I was guided to that area was to support the people who got affected by the 2011 earthquakes. In Christchurch, there was big earthquakes, and people, you know, before the earthquakes, people's sense of security was very much in the material world, you know, their houses, their cars, their jobs, the predictable, tomorrow is going to be pretty much like yesterday. It's all predictable, you know. However, people had closed in, and they didn't even know their neighbors who lived beside for 20 years in many cases. So then all of a sudden the earth shakes. I was actually there in September 2010 for the first earthquake that happened around 4 something in the morning. And because I had the capacity, I woke up and I tuned into the earth, and I asked, was there anything I needed to do? So while many people went down to the streets, including the woman who was staying with me, because I was on a yoga workshop at the time. That's why I was in the city of Christchurch and the South Island of New Zealand. And so when the earthquake hit, you know, obviously it was a bit of a but because I could tune into the earth and trust the guidance that I got, I went back to bed. Whereas many other people got really rattled, including the lady I was staying with, who was in a right state when I woke up in the morning. So I was able to support her nervous system and where she was at. So nobody actually died in that earthquake or was really even injured. But however, there was some heart attacks and stuff, but it was more from the stress of the trauma of that experience of feeling the earth shake. So that was that experience in September 2010. And then it was 2011 when the next earthquake happened in the center of the city, very unexpectedly. in the middle of the day. And that's when 100, I can't remember, 100 plus people died. And it was a huge thing. But it wasn't just that earthquake that happened on that day. There was, I can't remember, thousands of rumblings. So then where do you go for your security? You know, the external world has literally been shaken. But again, so the anxiety that comes up, but again, it's that call to come inward and to come into more of what I call a divine security. And then changing security, which is the outer world is always going to change. But if we put our sense of identity into it, and we forgot, we forgot because things were very predictable for a long time. And then all of a sudden the earth shakes and then you're reminded, no, this is not the unchanging, part of your consciousness.
And when you talk about, I wasn't supposed to tell it, but when you go there, it feels like I just have to mention it. As a medicine woman of the future, we will have another, like you tell, a big earth. It's like a tsunami that will affect all of us because our ground will shake. So this is coming, but this is for the best, kind of. We have to rise. We have to see how we are all in this together. What's happening in your country is affecting my country. What's happening in Africa, what's happening in Russia, in Ukraine, everything. We are one planet, Mother Earth. We are brothers and sisters. So we will be shaken. It will come. And our foundation need to be shaken to really step up. A lot of people have stepped up, but there are still, we see what the system and all the crazy things happening. So it will get even crazier in 2025 and 2026.
And just kind of going back to that and what you said earlier, it's like pain is a great attention grabber.
Yeah.
Earth shakes is a great attention grabber. It gets our attention. We're paying attention now.
Yeah.
So, as you said, it's like, what does it take for us to pay attention? To do what we know to do, because the heart, the soul, the inner being is calling us to rise, to meditate, and I'm not saying it's easy, but we can distract ourselves, and again, there's a lot in the world to distract us.
Yes.
That wants to seduce us into the drama and the fear and all of that kind of stuff. And so it's up to each one of us to go, no, I'm not playing that game anymore. I'm putting it down. I'm ready to play a new game of consciousness that is more graceful and joyful and easeful and taking greater self accountability and responsibility and coming into reverence with who we truly are. And the gift of being here, the gift of embodiment, and the gift of divinity that we get to bring through us now. And so that's very, very exciting.
Yeah, and that's it. We are already holding it, and that's where all of us are going. So it's like even though if Mother Earth give us earthquake or giving us some hard times, we know we kind of are in peace and harmony in the grace field. The grace field is holding us. We know who we are. We are God's source creator. We are creating our reality. So we choose from second to second to second to second. We are light.
Yeah. So just another thing just to add in here as well. Absolutely. Also awareness, and yes, we're this collective body of earth, and kind of see that we're each cells in the body of earth from that perspective.
Yeah.
Also, because we have different frequencies. So I use the analogy of the radio station as well. And so different people are on different radio stations, and so just being aware that that's also that we can be having very, very different experiences, that brings understanding. So one radio station is talking about divinity and reverence for the self and the grace field and our creational potential and possibilities and who we truly are. And the other radio station is talking, about devastation and there's no hope and people are feeling hopeless and despondent and all the rest of it. So they're very different frequencies. Right. And just to be aware that the and can hold all of that.
Yeah.
So just, because I think that can be a little tricky as well, in the we field, so to speak, is that, that can be another reason to leave our center, because we want the we to come with us and to be on the same frequency, and just to understand that, to really trust. And that's one thing I've had to learn, especially since 2020, is deeper compassion. Deeper compassion that everyone is walking their journey,
Yeah.
and that the most important thing is for each one of us to walk our authentic journey, whatever that is, and that even those who may seem unawakened
Yeah.
or unwilling, that they also are creating a certain contrast and a certain momentum
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
those of us
Yeah.
to be able to, be able to be aware of perhaps how much momentum and how much change and the different frequencies that we're experiencing, and perhaps how much shifting we've done in our lifetimes as well.
Yeah, and when you're talking about this, I call it divine timing, because I'm never forced people to do, because we have all our own divine timing. So when I started to really understand my divine timing, because in 2015, 16, 17, I saw so much. I saw so much in the future, but it was hard to see so much, to know so much, because it was so many years to it would happen. So it's kind of, okay, so I understand that I had to adjust to divine timing, because I knew what would happen in my life. And I think it was hard to know so much, actually. And then I had to understand that the divine timing aspect. So I never force people, because I know that every human have their divine timing.
Yeah.
We have
Yeah.
the divine timing in us, kind like a soul plan.
Yeah. Yeah. And at the same time, as we walk our own path and we be that light becomes an invitation,
Yeah,
to others to
yeah,
remember their light and to
yeah,
remember the possibilities for them that they can choose if they choose.
yeah. And I thank you for saying it. It's an invitation. We are always invited to whatever we want. So it's an invitation, and we can say yes, we can say no. We choose. But the soul also know if it's correct or not.
Well, and actually, that's a good point. Yes, absolutely. And I mean, for me, anyways, through doing the quantum healing hypnosis and doing so many sessions with so many people, that is something that really has developed in me, is a deep no, like a deep maybe acceptance is the word, and allowing that we are unique soul paths and plans, and that we really cannot judge another, because we don't know what that soul is up to,
No.
and what role it's playing, or what it wanted to discover or learn or experience, or they could also be, the soul could be, okay, I'm I'm going to resist and take resistance as far, resist this whole awakening thing, and then I'm going to transition, and then I'm going to remember, and then I'm going to be born into that high vibration. I'm just saying it's a possibility, because
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
all
yeah,
possible. Right?
yeah,
So to me, that's, like the deeper into my consciousness I go, it's like the more allowing of all possibilities and all expressions as well. And again, that's that unconditional love. But as you said, the soul, if the soul's intention is to awaken and the human ego is not paying attention or not willing, then that's when the whispers become louder, and then there's the bang over the head, or there's some extreme event, or the pain, the illness, the grief, the death, whatever it is, because again, we pay attention, and we start asking new questions, and we start being willing to open up to something perhaps we weren't willing to open up to before.
yeah. I want to give an example. My son, it's 10 years ago, my oldest son committed suicide. And I spoke with him on the other realm, even though it was very hard. And I said, please, can you come in physical form again? And he said, okay, I will come in physical form. So he is back here. And I was hoping to have him as I will be his grandma, of course. But he chose a family with a lot of trauma. And when he came, when he was in the room of his mother, he said that who he had chosen. And I connected. but it was a lot of trauma. And he said, but you you cannot meet me the first years because it will be hard. And I thought, okay, will one of my child have a partner that don't like me? So I started to, but he had chosen another family, and there are two souls going together. Both of them took their lives. So they have chosen kind of a habitat that has this pattern. And even though I knew that I couldn't meet him when he was a child, I tried, and I tried it really hard. And it was almost like if I could have done it even deeper, but then the police would come and take me. But it was like, okay, I know that the plan is not to meet him before he is teenager. So I knew that, but at the same time, I longed so to kind of, I know you are in the physical form, I'm longing so for you, but I know that the time, so that's again, divine timing. I know I will meet him, and the family he lives with now, it's not his biological, but because he's taken, it's so much trauma, so he's put in another family. So yeah, but all is divine timing. That's what I said. I wanted to give an example about divine timing, and sometimes we want to just force it, but then it's a surrendering.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Surrendering, patience, trust, allowing, letting go of control, letting go of attachments.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And trusting the love beyond all of that,
yeah,
the love and connection. Yeah.
yeah. Wow. Thank you, Mary Jo. This has been a mind-blowing conversation. It's like going with the flow and the vibration. Wow, so easy.
Yeah, it's been lovely. Thank you so much. And so do I call you Ann-Peggy? Is that what you, Ann-Peggy?
My name is
Yeah.
Ann-Peggy.
Your name is Ann-Peggy. Beautiful to meet you. Thank you so much for inviting me onto your podcast and to the resonance and the conversation and the flow. This is truly my divine joy.
Thank you for listening to the Divine Design podcast with Ann-Peggy Divine. You can follow divinedesign.it on Instagram, Facebook, X, and TikTok. Join us next Sunday for another Heaven on Earth unfolding conversation. With grace, reverence, and unity, may the path of your divine design light the way. From the divine in us to the divine in you.